Welcome and thank you for continuing to watch the CAST Highlight Certification video series. This module is section 3 and is focused on the configuration of the application portfolio. So the content is designed for portfolio managers and administrators. Prior to diving into the training, let's provide a quick overview. CAST Highlight is a software intelligence product that delivers rapid insights across all of your applications. It essentially acts as a control tower for your application portfolio, enabling smarter governance and decision making. It includes various types of insights that we covered in section 2 during the consumption of analytics. And it's designed to be very rapid. It could analyze thousands of applications in a few days. It combines source code analysis with surveys for adding more business context. And all the scanning happens locally, meaning the source code never leaves the premises. The process for implementing CAST Highlight is pretty straightforward. First, CAST Highlight can be pointed at code repositories for automated scanning and rapid analysis of source code for applications. It can be updated continuously and automatically, and then application owners complete a few surveys for each application to enhance the context and enhance the analytics coming from the source code analysis. The second step is to upload the encrypted statistical results to the secure cloud. It's 27001 certified, it's a SaaS portal, and again, the results do not include any source code. The source code stays on premises. The results include purely statistics and metadata, and you can even look at the results file that's generated. It's basically a flat text CSV file. And finally, the third step is once that upload occurs, all of the dashboards and reports available within the CAST Highlight SaaS portal become available, giving you instant visibility with automatically generated and customizable reporting. Also, the data could be integrated with other systems easily via an API. Now, after completing this section of the certification, you'll be comfortable with the following steps: configuring domains, declaring applications, creating users, managing surveys, and managing analysis campaigns. And we're going to go through each of these steps during this tutorial. Okay, so when you are a portfolio manager of a CAST Highlight portfolio, you're going to first receive an invitation to create your account. You will get it via an email, and in order to do so, you simply click on Join Account. This should launch your browser and bring you to the account creation screen. You simply enter the information on the screen and log into the product. And then upon logging in and creating your account, you will be presented with the CAST Highlight home screen. Once logged in, the portfolio manager has to configure the environment. To access these administration features, we start by clicking on the Manage Portfolio menu and selecting Users and Apps. As a first step, we're going to create domains that will host the application. Domains are a conceptual grouping of applications that could be based on anything such as a department, a business capability, a geography, or whatever makes sense to organize your portfolio. Domains essentially enable filtering of the various reports and dashboards when you're consuming insights inside of the product. They also make it easier to select applications when launching an analysis campaign. Essentially, think of it as a way to organize a hierarchy of applications. So we're going to click on the Add button in the Domains module. That brings us to the domain creation screen. We're going to name this first domain Business Apps. And then we're going to click Add. Let's create another domain. And this one we're going to call IT Apps. And add that one as well. You can create as many levels within your domain hierarchy as you desire. For example, we can create 2 subdomains below the IT domain. We could do that via the same steps. So we'll click Add. We'll pick the IT Apps domain, meaning that these additional domains we're creating now will be subdomains below the IT Apps domain. We're going to create one called EA, And we're going to create another one called APM. We can view the hierarchy we've created by clicking on this list option button in the domains module. And we'll see now that by first clicking on IT apps, when we were naming these two additional domains, they actually were created as subdomains below the IT apps domain. Now the next step in configuring a portfolio is naming and declaring our applications. We're going ahead and click the Add button on the Applications module. And we're going to go ahead and name an application. We're going to call one application Cloud App, and we're going to select the icon next to the Business Apps domain so that we attach this application to the Business Apps domain. We could also, if we choose, add it to additional domains by clicking each of those icons. So an application could actually belong to more than one domain. We could also define specific application contributors by name, by user account for this specific application. Let's go ahead and save this. We now have one application created, as you can see here. We're going to add an additional application. So we click on the Add button again. This time we're going to name it Legacy App. And we're going to add this one to the IT apps domain. And then we're going to go ahead and save it. If we click on that list option, we'll see the list of applications listed here, and then we can see the domains that they belong to. At any time, we can remove an application by clicking the delete button or edit its characteristics by clicking this edit button. The next step in configuring a portfolio is to create users. There's already one user created, which is me logged in as the portfolio manager, and I'm going to go ahead and invite some additional users. In this scenario, we're going to create two different users. Now the applications they can view will depend on the domains we attach the users to. So domains are not only organizing applications, but they could also be used to filter access at different levels to different users. The first new user we're going to create is going to be an application contributor. This individual will be involved in the analysis process for specific applications. Let's make sure that this user belongs to the Business Apps domain. So after clicking Invite, we're going to select the Business Apps domain. We could also search for a domain in this box if the list has gotten long. We're going to select the user's role. In this case, we're going to use the Application Contributor role by selecting it. An application contributor has the permission to analyze an application's code, as well as answer surveys for specific applications that we'll define later. Very similar to being an application owner, if you will. The other options for user roles are Portfolio Manager, which is what we're currently logged in as, has full access rights to configuring the portfolio and all the different capabilities available in Cast Highlight. A Results Viewer is read-only access for just viewing results. A Domain Contributor is very similar to an application contributor, but they can contribute to all of the applications within an entire domain that they belong to that is specified, not just a specific set of named applications. We're going to enter the email address. Multiple emails with the same access can be entered and separated by a semicolon. So if you want to enter multiple new users and invite them with the exact same characteristics, you can do that by simply entering multiple email addresses in this box. Then we're going to click Invite Users. We get a message that this individual has been added. So now we can view the users here by clicking on this List button. This new user, who's currently set with an invited status, is going to receive an email inviting them to create their account, similar to the email we saw at the beginning of this session. Once they create their account, the status will change from invited to activated. We're going to add another new user to this account. This is going to be simulating a Chief Enterprise Architect that's not going to be contributing to applications by doing analysis and answering surveys, but consuming results. So we'll go ahead and click on Invite. And we're going to attach this user to the top level domain so that they have access to view insights across all of the subdomains and applications in the portfolio. So after clicking on invite, we're going to make sure the top level domain is selected, and we're going to set their role as result viewer. We enter their email address, and then we go ahead and click invite users. Now we see here that we have 3 users. 2 of them have been invited, 1 activated, which is the account we're currently logged into right now. Okay, just as a quick review, what we've done so far during our portfolio configuration is we've configured a few domains and subdomains. We've declared a couple of applications and attached them to domains. And then we've invited a couple of users with different roles. The next step in the process is to configure the surveys that we're going to use in our portfolio. Okay, back at the Cast Highlight home screen, we're going to manage some surveys. But before we do that, just to summarize the value of surveys. Obviously, one of the key unique aspects of Cast Highlight is the fact that it automatically and very rapidly can analyze the source code of lots of applications very fast. However, one of the unique aspects of Cast Highlight is that it could also enhance the insights and analytics available from source code analysis by overlaying more context. That context comes from the built-in survey capability built into the product. That context could include things like the business impact of applications, or additional information such as the type of application, or the number of developers supporting it that contribute to other types of analytics and dashboards in Cast Highlight once you're combining both the source code analysis data and the survey answers. To manage our surveys, we're going to go to the Manage Portfolio screen once again and click on Manage Surveys. This screen, the Manage Survey screen, is divided into a couple of sections. First, on the left-hand side, displays the active surveys that are available and activated to be used in an analysis campaign. On the right-hand side, we have our survey catalog of all available surveys, including ones that are not yet active and available to be used, and the full question catalog that we can use to add to each of the surveys. Let's start with the first scenario, where there's an existing survey. Cast Highlight comes with a number of out-of-the-box surveys built into the product. As we can see, there's already 4 of them activated in this scenario. If we want to add another survey to be available to be used in an analysis campaign, we're going to activate it by clicking on the Survey Catalog tab, going to the survey we want to add. In this case, we want to add the Green Impact Survey to be available in analysis campaigns in this portfolio. And we do that by simply clicking on the plus sign next to the Green Impact Survey on the right-hand side survey catalog. We can add a description to this survey. And then once we save it, we now see that it is available and active in my active surveys collection. Now in a second scenario, we may want to use Cast Highlight to collect additional information about applications. And we can do that by creating our own custom survey. The process is quite simple. First off, we're going to click the Create Survey button. And we're going to first name our survey. Let's call it Application Properties. And we can add a description. We save that, and we've now created the Application Properties survey, and it automatically becomes active. Now we can create some custom questions for that survey. So we're going to go ahead and create some questions. And these questions could be of various different styles. We're going to create one here. We can collect information via text, numbers, percentages, dates, single selection, multiple selection. In this case, we're going to use the multiple selection option. And we're going to enter a few different possible options. Once we've added our 3 options that we want to make available in the survey, we can click Save. As you can see here, we have now added a new survey question available in our questions catalog. You could also see that this survey question was created by us, our company, versus the out-of-the-box standard questions created by CAST. Now we can go ahead and select this question and add it to the new application properties survey that we created previously by clicking on the Attach Questions Here button. Once we confirm that, we'll see that that question has now become part of this survey. Now, just a quick remark here. Because CAST Highlight is a SaaS software, we're regularly adding new capabilities to the product, and it's likely that you may see some new out-of-the-box surveys appear over time built into CAST Highlight. They will fit into the CAST standard surveys, and you'll see them indicated as such. Your custom surveys are always going to be listed in the bottom section called My Company's Surveys. Okay, just as a quick summary and reminder, what we've done so far is we've configured the domains, applications, and users. We've managed some surveys and made sure that the ones we want to include in our campaign are actually set to active. Finally, the portfolio manager has to configure the analysis campaign to generate the portfolio and application insights. So to configure and launch an analysis campaign, we're going to start back in the home screen and select from the Manage Portfolio menu, Manage Campaigns. We see here there are no existing campaigns. We're going to click the Create Campaign button. We're going to come up with a name for our campaign. In this case, we're going to call it Business Apps, and we're going to select a due date. We click Next Step, and now we can choose if we want to include the source code scan and/or the survey information in this campaign. If you leave the survey answers on, you have to actually choose which surveys you want to include in this campaign. In this case, we're going to choose the Business Impact Survey and the Green Impact Survey. Again, as a quick aside, if you want to leverage the true power of CAST Highlight, you're going to want to use both the source code scan capabilities as well as the built-in survey capability to add that additional context to your analytics. Now, we often get asked, well, why would you switch off the source code scan or switch off the surveys in some scenarios? Well, you might switch off the code scan, for instance, if you're going to be analyzing and looking at reports for commercial off-the-shelf applications, meaning that you don't have access to the source code, but you still want to include those applications in the various dashboards that still make sense even if you don't have the source code data analyzed. Another example of where you might turn off the source code scan is if you just want to leverage CAST Highlight as a workflow system for capturing information from your application audience on various topics or subjects, especially if you've been creating custom surveys. These could be questions related to compliance, regulatory issues, or simply collecting information about things like business capability mapping. Why would you switch the survey off? Well, the most common reason for switching off the survey is that this is a future campaign and the surveys have already been completed, and the answers are not expected to change at this time. However, you still want to analyze the source code on a more frequent basis to monitor progress on various technical insights such as resiliency, open source safety, cloud readiness, or green impact. Another example is that you may already have the data that is captured via the survey in another third-party tool like an enterprise architecture tool, for instance. And only the source code scan data is going to be needed because you're going to simply use the API to integrate the insights based on the source code analysis into your enterprise architecture tool, and you don't need to use CAST Highlight for capturing survey information. Again, we provide all of this different flexibility for various scenarios. Okay, we're going to click Next Step, and now we're on the application scope screen. There are 2 ways to select the applications to include in an analysis campaign. First, you can select the applications one by one by entering them in the bottom box or applications scope, or you can select them using domains by picking a domain, and then all of the applications within that domain will be included in the analysis campaign. You can choose either option. We're going to go ahead and pick the apps that we want to include in this analysis campaign, and we're going to pick both of the applications that we created earlier on in the portfolio configuration. Then we will click Next Step. Finally, in this last step of the campaign configuration, we can customize the message that's going to be sent to the application owners that are part of this analysis campaign. We can switch off this message if they're very familiar with Cast Highlight and we don't need to notify them. They already know that they have this action to take. But for the first time, we highly recommend using this message and sending them this email with the steps they need to take, and even customizing the text of the message. For example, we would recommend including maybe links to training materials or tutorials so that they become familiar with Cast Highlight the first time that they're invited to contribute to an application during an analysis campaign. Then we will click Complete. We can now see here that we have our first analysis campaign named Business Apps here. It's in a pending status because we haven't launched it yet. We have a closing date identified, and there's 2 applications included. We also have progress bars that will be updated during this campaign. Now we can press this play button to launch the campaign, and we'll see that the status has moved from pending to started. Since we turned on the notification email option, the application owners involved in this analysis campaign are going to receive an invitation email with links to the steps they need to complete to contribute to these applications. Just a final few notes on campaign management. The campaign is going to terminate automatically as soon as all of the steps are complete in filling out the surveys and analyzing the results and uploading the results to the portal. We can stop a campaign, we can archive a campaign, or remove it. Okay, one last time, let's summarize the steps we took to configure a portfolio in Cast Highlight. First, we configured various domains and subdomains. Then we declared and named our applications. We created and invited users. Then we managed surveys by both activating existing surveys and creating a new custom survey. And finally, we managed the analysis campaign by creating that campaign and launching it. Thank you for watching this Cast Highlight certification module, section 3 on portfolio configuration.